Since Andrew has agreed to move out of Royal Lodge, and he said, okay, fine, I'll move out after paying 1 peppercorn a year, which is basically £1 a year. Now they're saying he's not going to move out until October 2026.
There's a quiet but very serious concern inside palace walls right now, and it centres on what Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and Sarah Ferguson might do next. According to multiple reports, the former Duke and Duchess of York are being watched closely by palace legal teams amid fears they are allegedly attempting to sell items connected to the royal family, including objects linked to the late Queen Elizabeth II. And if even one of those items appears at auction, sources say it could trigger what one insider described as immediate and widespread fallout. So let's talk through exactly what is being claimed, why the palace is reportedly on high alert, and what is allegedly sitting inside Royal Lodge as Andrew and Sarah prepare to leave. Because this is not just about moving house. This is about ownership, legacy, and the very real fear that private royal history could end up in the hands of the highest bidder. Let's start with what has set alarm bells ringing. Reports from several outlets indicate that Andrew and Sarah are reportedly considering selling valuables connected to the royal family ahead of their departure from Royal Lodge, and these are not described as everyday possessions. Sources say the items of concern include private letters, jewellery, and other personal objects linked to Queen Elizabeth II and potentially other senior royals. One source told Radar Online that the objects carry not only financial value, but historical and emotional significance. In other words, these are not just assets, they are pieces of royal history. The same source went further, using language that has raised eyebrows across the palace. They said that Andrew and Sarah seem intent on turning Royal Lodge into what they described as a pawn shop, by gathering together goods they believe they can auction off to the highest bidder. That gives you a sense of how seriously this is being taken behind the scenes. According to that source, the appearance of even a single item connected to the late Queen would cause immediate problems. Not just embarrassment, but legal and reputational consequences. And that brings us to the next key point, the legal question. It's believed the palace has legal experts actively monitoring the situation to determine which items at Royal Lodge belong to the Crown and which, if any, could be considered the personal property of Andrew or Sarah. That distinction matters enormously. Anything deemed Crown property cannot legally be sold. Even items that were gifted may still come with conditions or expectations around their use and ownership. This is not a simple case of clearing out a family home. Another source described the worst-case scenario in stark terms. They said, "The palace is deeply concerned about the possibility of private letters, recordings, or jewels being sold publicly." The source said senior royals always expected the break with Andrew to be difficult, but not on this scale. And that is very telling, as it suggests this situation has gone beyond strained family relations and into territory that feels unpredictable and volatile. The phrase volatile was used directly. If they go ahead with this plan, one source warned, their departure from royal life could end in the most explosive way yet. And this anxiety around Andrew is also unfolding as Prince William quietly strengthens his own team behind the scenes. It has emerged that the Prince of Wales has hired a crisis management specialist to join his Kensington Palace staff. Liza Ravenscroft, who has spent years working in crisis communications, has reportedly been recruited from the global firm Edelman. While sources insist the role is described internally as non-crisis based, the timing has not gone unnoticed, particularly as William continues to wrestle with the ongoing Andrew situation and the reputational risks surrounding it. Ravenscroft is said to bring deep experience advising major brands during sensitive periods, and her appointment is believed to have been supported by Edelman's CEO Julian Payne, a former communications secretary to King Charles and Queen Camilla, who has remained close to royal circles. Whether coincidence or caution, it adds another layer to the sense that senior royals are preparing for turbulence. This is also all happening against the backdrop of their long-delayed move out of Royal Lodge. As you will remember, Royal Lodge is not a modest property. It is a 30-room mansion set within Windsor Great Park. Andrew has lived there for years, and despite repeated pressure, the move has been anything but swift. According to a source quoted by the Mail on Sunday, a removal lorry has already been and gone, reportedly under the cover of darkness. The same source said Andrew is moving to what they described as a shoebox-sized house by comparison. Because of that, many of the belongings removed so far are believed to be going into storage units rather than directly into the new property. The source described the situation inside Royal Lodge as cluttered and chaotic, turning what should be a straightforward move into a months-long room-by-room excavation. They said, these are not the kind of belongings you can simply sweep into a skip. Even if Andrew wanted to move immediately, the source claimed he couldn't because of the sheer volume of possessions and the refurbishment work still ongoing at the other end. So when you combine that with reports of valuable royal-linked items being gathered together, it is not hard to see why palace officials are nervous. The concern is not just about what is being moved, but where it might end up next. That silence, for now, leaves the palace relying on legal oversight rather than reassurance. And here's where things get particularly sensitive. Items connected to Queen Elizabeth II are not just valuable because of who she was, but because of what she represents. Her private letters, jewellery, or personal effects are viewed by many as part of a shared national heritage, not personal bargaining chips. That's why sources are using language like worst-case scenario and widespread fallout. The palace is reportedly determined to prevent any situation where such items are sold without scrutiny, or worse, without permission. But at the same time, the exact details of what items exist at Royal Lodge, who legally owns them, and whether any have already been moved into storage, are unclear. And that uncertainty is precisely what has put the palace on edge. None of these allegations are particularly surprising. Sarah Ferguson has a history of awful financial management. Just yesterday, I reported on the leaked emails which show a former staff pleading to be paid their wages owed. Most have already questioned what her next money-making move might be. But, for now, legal teams watch, movers come and go, and Royal Lodge is slowly emptied, one room at a time. Whether this ends quietly or erupts into something far more damaging remains to be seen. One thing is clear. This is not just another chapter closing. It could be the most volatile ending yet to Andrew and Sarah's royal story. All experts agree. There is much more to come. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe Andrew and Sarah would really attempt to sell items linked to the late Queen? Or do you think this is palace paranoia driven by mistrust? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated, don't forget to subscribe